The purpose of this video is to show you what to do in the proposal phase of creating a project. And so I am going to show you how to select a form, fill out a form, and go from there. So when you first log into Project Foundry, you're going to see this screen. And what you're going to do is go up to Quick Actions and you want to start an experience. And what's going to immediately come up is our default form called Project Plan. If you decide you want something different, you have some other options in this long list. Please, please, please make sure that you are using Project Plan, not Project Plan 1. I have eliminated some things from Project Plan 1 that don't really apply to what we're doing. So if you fill out Project Plan 1, there's going to be some boxes in there that you probably aren't going to be sure how to fill out. If you're thinking about making some kind of portfolio for writing, there's a form for that. There is a form for an independent reading book. There's a form for an independent reading bookshelf. So if you want to read a whole bunch of books over a certain topic, you would want to use that. If you have something to do with health and wellness, that might be something to look at. I encourage you to just log in and go to click those buttons and get to this screen and just kind of explore these different things that you can, these different forms that you can fill out. But our default form is going to be Project Plan. And so when you pull this up, you're going to just work your way through here. Anything with a red asterisk is required that you complete before you submit it to your advisor. Okay? You need a title for your project, and then you need to tell me, what are you going to do? Are you exploring, researching, and testing? Are you demonstrating, showing, or performing? Or are you explaining, informing, persuading, or arguing? You know, you might be able to check more than one box here, and that's okay. You need to describe to me what you're going to do. What is your big idea? What do you plan to do? And then there is a box for professional roles. I decided not to make this required yet, just because I feel like for some of you it might be a little bit more difficult and we can kind of help you with that. But you're looking at things like writer, publisher, biologist, scientist, astronomist, teacher, presenter, any of those things. It's a professional job. Think about, what job would you do if you were actually doing this? What would you be called? Meteorologist. I don't know. Depends on your project. Then you need a driving question. And so remember that a driving question cannot be yes or no, and it cannot be something that I can type into Google and find the answer to. It needs to be pretty big, and it needs to require quite a bit of work to answer. Once you have one driving question, then you go to guiding questions. And so depending on the length of your project and how in-depth your driving question is, you might need 5 guiding questions, you might need 25 guiding questions. Guiding questions are things that are going to help you answer your driving question. So if your driving question is how does how has weather impacted agriculture over the last 200 years? Okay, then my guiding questions can be things like what different types of weather positively impact agriculture, what types of weather negatively impact agriculture. Have there been any large changes in climate over the last 200 years? What are the most common types of weather for the area that I'm looking at? So guiding questions can be yes or no, and they can be Googleable. These are the things that you're going to research and learn about to help you answer your driving question. Then you go to resources. The first box is just literally you typing and hit add. It's not any like upload kind of thing. So maybe a resource would be Dave Freeman, the meteorologist from KSN News. Another resource could be the website weather.com. You can attach that link down here in number 8. If you know of an article or a book or something, you can add them up here. Anything that you can actually provide me direct access to, though, will have to be uploaded in number 8. So any kind of resource that you know you're going to use needs to go here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to really divide your project into smaller tasks, smaller jobs. So you might have 4 of these, you might have 12 of these, you might have 30 of these, but these should be very basic things like research the different types of weather. How are you going to document it? I'm going to take notes in my notebook. I'm going to type it on a Google Doc, whatever. How long is it going to take you to do that? Well, um, literally, how long are you going to work on it? Not, oh, I'm going to get it done in 4 days. Are you going to work on it every hour, every minute for 4 days? No. So maybe it's going to take you 1 hour to complete the research, but you won't have it done until 4 days from now. So you would pick the 20th. Okay. Um, and then most of these projects will probably be done individually if you happen to be working in a group. That this is where you might be able to say, okay, Zoe is going to complete this task, and then you're going to assign the next task to you. If you're going to work together to complete it, you check the collaboratively complete task box. If you are actually creating something that you could share with your advisors as evidence, you would mark this task as a deliverable, like, hey, I'm actually going to create something here that I can show you. When you've filled all this out, you hit add task, it will add it, and you'll have this box that you can keep typing in until you get through all of your tasks, okay? Then something that I want you to think about as you move through your project is how can we assess that you are on track, that you're doing what you need to do along the way? So those would be called formative assessments. How are you learning along the way, and how can you show me that you're learning? So that could be something like creating a Google Doc of all the different types of weather, add. Um, Creating a Venn diagram comparing and contrasting tornadoes and hurricanes, whatever, add. Formative assessments are things that happen along the way. I think these are going to be important as we go through this so that you know you're on track and we know you are on track. This is going to hold you accountable throughout the process. You're just describing them here. And then number 11 is the summative assessment. So this is literally at the end, how are you going to prove to me that you learned what you said you were going to learn? Okay? It could be a research paper, a book, a field guide, a newspaper, a pamphlet, a model, a photo journal, some kind of structure, some kind of tool. PowerPoint is a good way to present this, but not really a product itself. That's why we've kind of axed PowerPoint as a final product. Then you get to learning targets and credits. And so here you will see this lovely little tool that you will be so familiar with by the end of this. Please make sure that you have your learning plan highlighted. If you click on all available, you're going to be able to see every single standard available to everyone. You don't want that. All you care about is what you need to get your credit. So make sure you have your learning plan selected. It should show up. If it doesn't, let me know. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to find, boom, here's English 10. Notice they're all red right now because she has yet to meet any of them. They all have a 1 after them because she has to do them one time. And so let's say with her project, she is going to read some informational text and assess reasoning and evidence. When you click that button, here's the actual standard. I can assess whether an author's reasoning is valid and whether there is enough evidence to support his or her claims. So if that's what you're going to do as part of your project, make sure you hit the add button to add it to your project. Otherwise, clicking this and then clicking here and then clicking here, that's not adding them. You have to hit the add button. I would really encourage you to hit as many targets as you can in a project. You probably don't want to overwhelm yourself at first. But some of these, especially in English, are like spelled correctly. You can be doing that every single time. Skills are soft skills, things that you need to do to someday be employable. Okay, so and these, remember, when you select these, whether it's a target or a skill, these are things that we, your advisors, will be evaluating you on at the end of your project. okay? So if you're going to be working on creative thinking, you're going to look to use familiar ideas in unusual ways. If you add that, at some point, we're going to evaluate your ability to do it. So if you don't think that applies to this project, then don't pick it. Of course, in these learning targets, you are required to do these. Yes, you have to meet so many of them to get your credit. Project skills don't go towards any credit accumulation. They're just helping you become more employable, a better person, etc. How to work, they're helping you collaborate, things like that. Um, so think about 2 or 3 of these every time that you can be working on. Ooh, whoa. Then you get to project members and dates. So automatically, I'm in Tyler's account, it has automatically added her as a student. If you want to add, you need to add your advisors. Boom. Um, if you were working on this in a group, say she was working with Zoe, she could add Zoe. There you go. And then Zoe would be able to see this. Now, when you scroll down some more, you get start and end date. When are you going to start this project? Let's say you're going to start it tomorrow. When are you going to finish it? Now, this is something that you need to think long and hard about. Consider your tasks, your due dates on your tasks. You might want to plan a little cushion. But if you say that you're going to have this done on Friday, then that is a hard due date that you will be held accountable to, unless you catch the measles and you're gone for 7 days. It's something out of your control. You guys, these hard deadlines are going to have to be set in stone. Otherwise, we're just going to keep extending it and extending, and that's not really feasible. In the work field, when your boss says you need to have this done by this day, you better have it done. And so you get to decide this, but realize that you will be held accountable to it. So if you know you're going to be gone on an FFA trip 3 days throughout the course of your 2-week project, you better be planning for that in this because you're going to be held accountable to this end date. Don't come to me and say, well, I was gone for FFA 2 days. Sorry, you knew that when you went in. You need to plan ahead. At this point, right now, the only person that you need to check here is me. Eventually, you're going to start seeing, I'm going to add some, if you want Mr. Colson to be able to see it, click him. If you're in a social studies class, you should do that. His is the only, social studies is the only thing that I'm not highly qualified to approve or unapprove. So if you are taking a social studies class, make sure you check him also. Um, we will get to the point where Mr. Roberts, Mrs. Mumma, Mrs. Spear, Mr. Vincent, they are approving things also. You're more than welcome to check Mr. Roberts if you want him to look over your speech or your English stuff. That's totally fine. Just realize that whoever you check in this box, um, that's who's going to be approving or unapproving your form, okay? And also able to evaluate you on later when you're finished. Um, if you're working on this and you run out of time, you can hit the save for later button. That's perfectly acceptable. I assume most of you will do that. But once you're ready to go, you've got it all complete, you're going to hit send for review, and then you're going to wait for approval. Again, if you have any questions about this, please come and see me. You might have to refer back to this video a few times. There's nothing wrong with that. I would also say that we are wrapping up the PBL handbook this week. And so if you feel like you're finished with your aspect of that and you are ready to move on, you're more than welcome to start working on this project proposal form because it's the first one. I imagine it might take us a little bit longer than it will in the future.